Deferred. Charging measure. Okay, hi guys. Good afternoon, one and all. The previous class we have completely discussed about the basics. So we know how to prepare the debtor account, creditor account, capital account, asset account, income account, and expenditure account. So in the today's class, we are going to start with the uh, some new concept called as capital and revenue transactions. So what is the discussion for today's class? Capital and revenue transactions. So just listen the simple concept. The weightage of this concept is 7 marks. How many marks we are going to get? 7 marks. This chapter is the base for NPO. What is the chapter name? NPO, non for profit organization. This is the base for NPO. How many marks we are going to get? 7 marks. Sir, generally you know the gap, I think so. What is the meaning of gap? Generally accepted accounting principles. In this only we are having the rules and regulations do the with respect to the accounting. So we are going to call it as rules and regulations is called concepts and conventions or principles we can call them. In that one of the principle is called as going concern assumption. What is the principle, Amma? Going concern concept. So what is the meaning of going concern concept? Anyone in the class? What is the meaning of going concern? Going concern means business may go forever. Forever means infinite years. No. Business will be continue for next year also. What is our assumption, ma? This year business is happening and the same the business will be there in the next year. The foreseeable future means how many years from this year ending to next year ending the business will be there or will not be there? Will be there. This is the basic assumption as per which concept, amma? Going concern assumptions. So without any barriers, the business will be there for the foreseeable future. What is the meaning of foreseeable future? The meaning of business operations which must be existence for at least how many years, amma? 1 year from the date of current year balance sheet. Okay, na. Generally, at what time we are going to prepare the balance sheet? We are going to prepare the financial statements at the end of the year. From the date of preparation of financial statements till the next year ending, the business is should be there is our assumption. So what is the meaning of foreseeable future? From the end of the preparation of balance sheet till the next year ending, the business will be there or will not be there? Will be there. This is our assumption. Okay, based on which concept we are going to assume this one, ma? Going concern assumptions. So intention to winding up of the operation. So here no intention. What we need to write here? Intention to winding up, no intention to winding up, no intention to winding up of the business. So based on this going concern concept or assumptions, the transactions are divided into how many types, ma? 2 types. First one is called as capital transaction and second one is called as revenue transaction. What is the meaning of capital transaction, sir? The benefit we are getting more than 1 year means it is called as capital transaction. The benefit you are getting less than 1 year means it is called as revenue transaction. For example, we are purchasing the camera. Okay, na? Because of camera, we are getting benefit more than 1 year or less than 1 year, ma? More than 1 year. So purchase of camera is called as capital transaction. Okay, na, ma? For example, we are paying the salaries to the employees. Okay, na? Paying the salaries to the employees. For them, we are going to get the benefit only 1 month. Yes or no, ma? We are paying the current month salary means the worker will work for the next month. Or otherwise, if you are not paying the salaries means worker will be there or will not be there. So worker will go out of organization. So what is the benefit of salary? Benefit of salary is only 1 month. 1 month means less than 1 year, more than 1 year, less than 1 year. So payment of salary is called as which type of transaction, ma? Current revenue transaction, capital transaction, revenue transaction. So based on the going concern concept, we are divided into the 2 types of transactions. First one is called as capital and revenue. Benefit more than 1 year means capital, benefit less than 1 year means revenue. Next, we are going to discuss from the expenditure point of view. Which point of view, ma? Expenditure point of view. We are having the 3 types of expenses. First one is called as capital expenditure, revenue expenditure, and deferred revenue expenditure. So we are going to learn what is the meaning of capital expenditure and what is the accounting treatment of the capital expenditure. What is the next point, ma? Revenue expenditure. When come to the revenue expenditure, we need to know what, ma? What is the meaning of revenue expenditure and what is the accounting treatment for the revenue expenditure, and in the same way related to the deferred revenue expenditure also. Okay, now if you understand this type of expenses, you can understand easily what, ma? Accounting treatment also. Okay, now so now we are going to start with the capital expenses. What is the first one? Capital expenditure. Sir, what is the meaning of capital? First of all, benefit more than 1 year, less than 1 year? More than 1 year. What is the meaning of capital expenditure, sir? With the help of that particular expenditure, the benefit we are going to get more than 1 year, less than 1 year? More than 1 year. We are incurring the certain expenses, but by way of incurring certain expenditure, we are getting a benefit more than 1 year is called as a capital expenditure. So any expenditure incurred and a benefit for greater than 1 year, such expenses is called as what, ma? Capital expenditure. But that should be related to these 5 points. Okay, now we should incur certain expenses With the help of that expenditure, we need to get the benefit more than 1 year, but related to these 5 examples. Related to how many examples, ma? 5. So please be very patient. First one is called as acquisition of an asset. First one is called as what, ma? Acquisition of an asset. What is the meaning of acquisition, sir? Purchase of asset. Okay, now we are planning to purchase one air conditioner. Okay, how much? What is the value of air conditioner, ma? Minimum 40,000 will be there. So we are going to planning the what, ma? We are going to purchase the air conditioner. What is the value of air conditioner here? 40,000. So this is called as capital expenditure or revenue expenditure. Capital expenditure. Why, ma? With the help of that air conditioner, we are going to get the benefit more than 1 year or less than 1 year? More than 1 year. So this 40,000 expenses is called as capital expenditure or revenue expenditure? Capital expenditure. What is the ultimate meaning of capital expenditure, sir? Capital expenditure means you have to incur certain expenses. With the help of that expenses, we need to get the benefit more than 1 year. That too related to fixed asset. That too related to what, ma? Fixed asset. How many types of assets are there? We are mainly 2 types. Current asset, non-current asset. Non-current asset is also called as fixed asset. Fixed asset means what, ma? Benefit more than 1 year or less than 1 year? More than 1 year. Are you getting the point? What is the final conclusion? We are incurring certain expenses. With the help of that expenditure, we need to get the benefit more than 1 year. That too related to fixed asset. Okay, now first one is called as what, ma? Acquisition of an asset. Here the asset means which type of asset? Fixed asset. Next one, any expenditure incurred for bringing the asset into the current location or condition. For example, after purchasing of AC, okay, na, we can carry only one person can carry AC from the shop to till business premises. Only one person can carry the AC, or we need a transportation expenses. We need to incur the transportation expenses. What is the purchase cost of AC, amma? The purchase cost of AC is 40,000. After that, we have incurred 1,000 rupees for transportation expenses. Okay, Namma. And then we are going to incur the installation expenses. What is the meaning of installation? Fixing of an air conditioner is called as installation. So for the installation, we have paid how much? 1,000. Okay, na. These 2 expenses are related to fixed asset, not related to fixed asset, related to fixed asset. Because of without these 2 expenses, we can use the asset, we cannot use the asset. We cannot use the asset. For that reason, this 1,000 and 1,000. What is the total amount, amma? 2,000. This 2,000 also we are going to add back to the asset. Now, what is the cost of the asset? 40,000, 41,000, 42,000, 42,000. Okay, Nama. Even though this transportation, normal transportation expenditure is called as revenue expense. Normal transportation expenditure means revenue. But here we are incurring the transportation expenses for the purpose of what, ma? For the purpose of bringing the asset into the current location or condition. So for that reason, this 1,000 rupees we need to add back to the asset. The 1,000 rupees is also called as capital expenses. Next one, what is the third point, ma? Current location means what? Go down or workshop. Condition means what, ma? Should be in a passive use but not in a active use. What is the meaning of passive use, sir? Ready to use. I think so. In the CMA foundation, in the depreciation chapter, the word you have seen. What is the meaning of that word, ma? Ready to use. Ready to use what, ma? We have installed the AC and we have given the connection to the AC electrical supply. Okay, now if you switch on the AC switch, it should be work. Okay, now that condition is called as what, ma? Ready to use. Okay, now even though if you are you are not using the particular asset, then also the depreciation will be charged or will not be charged. Depreciation will be charged. The same concept apply here also. Up to put to use the cost, whatever the incurring to the particular asset, that cost is called as what, ma? Capital expenses. Are you getting the point? Up to put to use, up to active use, up to put passive use, ma? Up to passive use. Passive use means what, ma? Up to put to use. Are you getting the point or not? Okay, now what ఏదైతే మన ఎక్స్పెన్సెస్ మనం మిషనరీ యూజ్ చేసేంత వరకు ఇంకర్ అయ్యామో ఆ ఎక్స్పెండిచర్ మొత్తాన్ని ఏమంటాం? ద టోటల్ ఎక్స్పెండిచర్ వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు కాల్ ఇట్ యాజ్ క్యాపిటల్ ఎక్స్పెన్సెస్. యూ హ్యావ్ సీన్ అని అంటున్నా 40,000 you have purchased the asset, 1,000 for transportation, 1,000 for installation. Up to here, okay, now after incurring this kind of expenses, we can use the asset, we cannot use the asset. We can use this. So up to this condition is called as active use or passive use, ma. Act, passive use. Active use means what, ma? We need to use the particular asset even though you are not using or using, it is not necessary. Up to passive use we have fixed, we have not fixed, ma. We have fixed up to this one. The expenditure, whatever the expenses we have incurred, that expenditure is called as capital expenditure or revenue expenditure, ma. Capital expenditure. What is the next one? Expenses incurred for renovation or extension of existing asset. Renovation or extension. For example, this floor, how many floors we are having now? 3 floors. Okay, now on this building we are adding one more floor. We are going to construct what, ma? One floor, one more floor. Constructing the one more floor is called as extension of a building. What is the meaning of that one? Extension. Up to 3 floors we have incurred 1 crore rupees for the construction. How much amount we have incurred, ma? 1 crore rupees for the construction. This 1 crore is called as capital expenditure, revenue expenditure. Capital expenditure. Because of incurring this 1 crore, we are going to get the benefit more than 1 year or less than 1 year? More than 1 year. But for constructing the one more floor, we are incurring 20 lakhs. We are going to incur how much, amma? 20 lakhs. Now this 20 lakh is also called as capital expenses or revenue expenses. Capital expenses. Why, ma? Because this is also, because of that construction we are going to get the benefit more than 1 year or less than 1 year? More than 1 year. But what we need to do, sir? These 20 lakhs we need to add back to the 1 crore. These 20 lakhs we need to add back to the 1 crore. This is called as extension concept. Are you getting the point or not? What did you understand? Okay. I think if you want to the more examples means, I think, do you remember the internet caves? The internet cave, one box will be there. One computer, they will put the one computer. Cabins. Do you know the cabins in internet cave? Do you know or not, man? Okay, we have started the one internet cave. In that we are having only 4 cabins initially. How many cabins we are having, ma? 4 cabins. Okay, now for the 4 cabins, 40,000 we have incurred. How much expenses we have incurred, ma? 40,000. First of all, this 40,000 rupees is called as capital expenditure, revenue expenditure. Capital expenditure. For that, we are going to get the benefit more than 1 year, less than 1 year. But the customers are increasing day by day. Customers are increasing. What we have thought, ma? We are going to add 4 more cabins. Extra 4 more cabins. For this also, how much amount we are going to incur? 40,000. So this is also called as extension. It's also called as what, ma? Extension. Or if you take the cinema hall, having only 100 seating capacity, due to the Bahubali or big movies, the lot of the audience are coming to the cinema theaters. For that reason, what we are doing, ma? We are going to increase the seating capacity by way of balcony construction. By way of construction of balcony. Here, the increasing the seating capacity is also called as extension of a building. What is the meaning of renovation? Renovation means what, ma? Old cinema halls are converted into new cinema halls. What they will do? They will do the remodeling cost. Okay, now they will incur what, ma? Remodeling. Because of that remodeling, the building value will be increases or decreases, ma? Increases. So that remodeling cost also we need to add back to the building. Are you getting the point? Extension cost is also we need to add back to the building. Are you getting the point? Next one, expenditure incurred. Expenditure incurred for and decreasing the operating cost. What is the meaning of this one, sir? We have certain expenditure. With the help of that expenditure, our operating cost is decreasing. What is the meaning of operating cost? Day-to-day expense. For example, have you remember the Gautam SSC film? Do you know the Gautam SSC film? Gautam SSC cinema చూడలేదా? Okay. For example, normally I think, do you know the mileage? Bike mileage. Okay, now if you are going to take 1 liter petrol, generally how many kilometers we can travel, sir? 35 kilometers. We take how many kilometers, ma? 35 kilometers for how many liters of petrol? 1 liter. What is the cost of 1 liter petrol? 120. Let us take how much, ma? 120. There is one spare part, one important spare part. By adding that spare part, our bike mileage is increasing. Our bike mileage is going to increase. That spare part value is 1 lakh rupees. The spare part value is how much, ma? 1 lakh. If we are incurring the 1 lakh rupees, our bike mileage will be increases. These are online classes, so that you are still sitting there. Otherwise, okay, what is the mileage increasing, sir? Before the spare part, we are getting how many kilometers, ma? 35. But because of that spare part, we can travel 70 kilometers. We can travel how many kilometers, ma? 70 kilometers. Before that, in order to travel a 70 kilometers, how many liters of petrol is required? 2 liters. Before this situation, before incurring of 1 lakh, you want to travel 70 kilometers means how many liters petrol is required? 2 liters. 2 liters means what is the cost? 120 into 2 is equal to how much, amma? 240. But with the help of incurring this 1 lakh, now the 70 kilometers we can travel with the help of only 1 liter petrol. That means our operating cost increases or decreases? Increases. Our operating cost, huh? Sorry, our operating cost is increases or decreases? Decreases. So why the operating cost is decreases, ma? Because of this 1 lakh. So this 1 lakh is also called as which type of expenditure? Capital expenditure, because we are getting a benefit or we are not getting a benefit. So we are getting a benefit in the form of decreasing the operating cost. Okay, now if you see the Gautam SSC film, in that film there is a one there is the hero Navadip only na, Kampunesh Baba. Okay, Navadip has invented one important spare part. With the help of that important spare part, bike mileage will be increases. Okay na? So okay, forget that one. I think did you understand all the concept? First one is called as what, ma? What is the meaning of capital expenditure? An expenditure we have incurred. With the help of that incurring expenditure, we are getting a benefit more than 1 year. That too related to fixed asset. Related to fixed asset means what are the expenses we are having? First, acquisition of fixed asset, and that after acquiring the fixed asset, up to put to use whatever the cost we are incurring, that cost also we need to add back to the asset, because that particular cost is also called as what, ma? Capital expenditure, because without that cost we cannot use the asset, we can use the asset. Next, then after what, ma? Expenses incurred for renovation or extension of an existing asset. Already existing asset, for the existing asset what we are doing, either we can do the extension or either we can do the renovation. What is the fourth point? Expenses incurred. With the help of that incurring of expenses, our operating cost will be decreases. What is the fifth point? Expenses incurred and the benefit is everlasting in nature. It is any other case. You can take what, ma? Residuary case. Residuary means what? Remaining some cases will be there. You can discuss in the problematic concept. Okay, na guys. So what is the first one, ma? Acquisition of an asset. Next one, any expenditure incurred to bring the asset a good asset. In the place of asset, if you replace the good, that expenditure is called as direct expenses. The place of asset, you are going to replace what, ma? Good means that kind of expenses is called as what, ma? Revenue expenses is called as direct expenses. Is called as what, ma? Direct. Are expenses incurred for the purpose of asset to bring the present location or condition means this kind of expenditure is called as what? Capital expenditure. Okay, location means what, ma? Our workplace or a go down. Condition means what? Passive use or active use? Passive use. What is the meaning of passive use? Ready to use. Okay, now next, expenses incurred for renovation or extension of an existing asset. Next, expenses incurred for decreasing the operating cost. Next, any other type of expenses that too related to fixed asset. With the help of that too related to what, ma? Fixed asset. For example, construction of a wall is a capital expenditure or revenue expenditure? Capital expenditure. With the help of that, we are going to get the benefit more than 1 year or less than 1 year. That too related to fixed asset or not related to fixed asset? Related to fixed asset. Okay, na? We are going to solve some sums. You can get a clarity. No problem. Okay, na? This is the meaning of capital expenditure. What is the meaning of capital expenditure? Do you know? Benefit is more than 1 year related to asset. Next one, revenue expenses. What is the meaning of revenue expenses, sir? Revenue expenses means general day-to-day expenses, salaries, rents, okay na, interest payments, commission payments, electricity expenses, advertisement expenses. These all are called as what, ma? General expenses and revenue expenses. Okay na. Normally, whatever the expenses you are going to debit in the trading and P&L account, those kind of expenses is called as what, ma? Revenue expenses. Whatever the items you are going to show in the balance sheet asset side, That kind of expenses is called as what ma? Capital expenses. Okay, now are you getting the point? Whatever we are going to record in the balance sheet asset side, that particular expenditure is called as capital expenses. Whatever they are going to record in trading and P&L account debit side, that kind of expenses is called as what ma? Revenue expenses. So here they are saying something. Any expenses incurred and the benefit is deriving less than or equal to 1 year. Such expenses per are as follows. Thus kind of expenses can be any expenses incurred for production activities. What is the meaning of production activity? Raw material purchase. This is an expenses related to production activity. So direct expenses and indirect expenses. In the costing, I will remember the direct expense. What is the meaning of direct cost, indirect cost? Direct expenses ma. If you see in the table, what is the direct expenditure? Wood, iron, these are all called as what ma? Direct expenses. Okay na? The worker worked on this table. For him, we are going to pay the wages. That one is also called as direct expenses. Okay na? The watchman who is there in our factory is called as indirect expenses. Okay na? Supervisor, indirect expenses. Whether here we are not going to divide any direct expenses, indirect expenses. Totally we are going to call it as what ma? Expenses, revenue expenses. The costing they are going to divide into two parts: direct expenses, indirect expenses. We are having we need to see this kind of expenses. No need to see. We no need to see. Okay na? For us, we want only two types of expenses. What are the two types of expenses? Capital expenses, revenue expenses. That's all. Capital means asset. Revenue means normal expenses. Are you getting the point or not? Okay na? Next what ma? Certain expenses. Any expenses incurred for day-to-day activities such as administration expenses. What is the meaning of administration expenses? So before that you have seen the Raju sir. Raju sir is admin department. Yes or no ma? For him we are going to pay what ma? Salary. Salary paid to the Raju sir is called as administration expenses. Revenue expenses, capital expenses. Revenue expenses. Okay na? If you are not going to pay the next month's salary means Raju sir will work, will not work. Okay na? Next, selling and distribution expenses means packing expenses, advertisement expenses, carriage outward. Next, financial expenses, interest. We have taken a loan, we need to pay what ma? Interest. Next one, asset maintenance expenses, depreciation expense. What is the asset maintenance expenses? Example, depreciation. Non-cash expenses is also a depreciation. Can take like that. Okay na? So these all kind of opportunity cost, those all things will be come into the costing concept. Okay now this is an accounts. Till now what you are understanding ma? What is the meaning of capital expenses and what is the meaning of revenue expenses? Okay now any expenditure related to asset means it is called as capital expenditure, and other than capital expenditure is called as what ma? Revenue expenditure. But we cannot conclude like that because there is another concept called as what ma? Deferred revenue expenses. What is the meaning of deferred revenue expenditure, sir? For this type of expenses also, the benefit we are going to get more than 1 year, but not related to fixed asset. Okay, na? We are incurring certain expenses. We are going to get the benefit more than 1 year. Related to fixed asset means capital expenditure. Not related to fixed asset means revenue expenditure. What is the? If you give the example, sir, I will give you example. What is the meaning of deferred revenue expenses? Any expenses incurred which are in the nature of revenue, but the benefit is more than 1 year. Benefit will be more than 1 year. What is the normally first initially we have discussed ma? If you get the benefit more than 1 year means it is called as capital transaction. But here we are going to get the benefit more than 1 year, but the nature is what ma? Revenue. The nature is what ma? Revenue. What is the meaning of nature revenues are not related to fixed asset? Not related to fixed asset. Are you getting the point? We are incurring the expenses. Okay na? Benefit more than 1 year. But related to fixed asset means it is called as capital expenditure. Not related to fixed asset means it is called as deferred revenue expenses. Are you getting the point or not? Sorry. If you see the underwriting commission, what is the meaning of underwriting commission, sir? Do you know the underwriter? Okay. Do you know the minimum subscription? 90%. Minimum amount of subscription we need to get. Okay, leave it. Imagine one company. Imagine what ma, one company. What the company will do ma, if they want the capital, what they will issue? They will issue the shares. Okay na? We can purchase the shares or we cannot purchase the shares. Where we can purchase the shares? Vegetable market. The vegetable market we can purchase the vegetables. In the share market we can purchase the shares. What are the share markets? How many types of share markets are there in India? Nifty 24. Okay, what is the first one? NSE, BSE. SEBI is a regulatory body. Okay, sufficient. Okay, cool. We're having two types of stock exchanges, NSE, BSE. NSE means National Stock Exchange. NSE, BSE, National Stock Exchange and Bombay Stock Exchange. Okay na? So in these stock exchanges we can purchase the Vatma shares. Okay na? But if any company is going to issue the shares, for example, the company issuing for 1 crore rupees. How much amma? 1 crore. In this 1 crore, the public need to purchase how much amma? 90%. 1 crore into 90% means how many lakhs? 90 lakhs. Company need to accept for how much amount? Company need to subscribe for 90 lakhs. Otherwise, we cannot issue the shares. Otherwise, we can issue the shares, or we cannot issue the shares. We have gone from the public for asking the amount of rupees how much? 1 crore. The public should give minimum how much? 90 lakhs. Public give minimum how much? 90 lakhs. Public giving 90 lakhs means 90% of people, they are trusting us or not trusting us. They are trusting us. Okay, now without 90% trust, you should not give the shares. This is called as minimum subscription. This is called as what ma? Minimum. So there is a risk, there is no risk. There is a risk. Okay, now public may accept or may reject. Okay, now generally we are going on proposing to one goal means that one goal only not accepting. No ma. But how the company will going to get the 90%? It is a difficult task. No man. అర్థమవుతుంది నేను చెప్పేది. 90% పీపుల్ యాక్సెప్ట్ చేస్తున్నారా చేయట్లేదా? మనం వెళ్ళి ఒకరికి ప్రపోజ్ చేస్తేనే వాళ్ళే యాక్సెప్ట్ చేయొచ్చు లేదా ఏం చేయొచ్చు, రిజెక్ట్ చేయొచ్చు. అట్లాంటిది కంపెనీ ఇప్పుడు ఎంతకు వస్తుందమ్మా? 1 crore rupees they're asking the public. Okay, now public want to give minimum how much? 90 lakhs. Otherwise the shares should be issued or should not be issued? Should not be issued. There is a risk or there is no risk? There is a risk. Oh, no. Public should give minimum how much? 90 lakhs. Okay, now. But in order to cover this risk, in order to cover the risk, underwriter will be there. Who will be there ma? Underwriter. What the underwriter will do ma? He will say what? Okay, public company, you go to the public and you can ask the amount from the public. Okay na? After asking the amount to the public has given only 50 lakh. How much amount they are giving ma? 50 lakh. Remaining 40 lakh who will give ma? Underwriter will give. Remaining 40 lakh who will give? The underwriters. Okay now for him what we need to pay? We need to pay the commission. Okay na ma? But how much amount we need to pay ma? We need to pay what ma? Commission. Why we need to pay the commission? He is taking a risk, he is not taking the risk. He is taking a risk. Here the underwriting commission is an expense. Yes or no? Underwriting commission we need to pay to the underwriter. This is an expenditure, this is an income. Expenses. With the help of that expenses, we are going to get the benefit more than 1 year, less than 1 year. More than 1 year. But related to fixed asset? No. Related to capital, this one. Related to liability. So that for that reason, this kind of expenses is called as what ma? Deferred revenue expenses, normal expenses. Deferred revenue expense. Related to fixed asset means capital expenses. Are you getting the point or not? Who is the underwriter? He will cover the risk of minimum subscription. Okay, now we have asked the public how much amount we are collected? 50 lakhs. How much amount we need to collect? 90 lakhs. For how much amount we have collected? Only 50 lakhs. Remaining 40 lakhs risk will be bear by whom? Underwriter. For him we need to pay the consideration or no need to pay the consideration? We need to pay the consideration. The consideration what we are going to pay the underwriter is called as underwriting commission. For our point of view, that underwriting commission is called as expenses. What kind of expenses? Deferred revenue expenses. Are you getting the point or not? Okay. Next there is a premium on issue of shares and debentures. Okay, now you can get to know this concept in the company corporate accounting group 2 paper number 10. Okay na, this is only a difficult task because why ma, you need to understand CA foundation there is a syllabus called as company accounts, but in CMA foundation there is no concept related to company accounts. So for that reason you don't know anything related to the sheets. That's all. It is a simple task. Did you get the point? Who is the underwriter? What is the underwriting commission? Underwriting commission is a deferred revenue expenses or normal expenses? Deferred revenue expenses. Normally in our CA foundation, CMA foundation, we have learned that what ma, advertisement, research and development, preliminary expenses, pre-operating expenses and employee training cost. These all the cost are called as deferred revenue expenditure. We have learned in the CMA foundation. Okay nama, advertisement is a normal revenue expenses or different revenue expenses. You have discussed in the CMA foundation, but in the CMA inter, as per which standard ma, standard number 26, accounting AS 26. What is the meaning of AS 26, sir? Intangible assets, accounting for a intangible assets. As per this standard, these 5 expenses are not deferred revenue expenditure. These 5 expenses are not deferred revenue expenses. Normally these expenses are deferred revenue or not a deferred revenue. Deferred revenue. Why, sir? We are going to give the advertisement. Okay na, in the World Cup matches we have given the advertisement. For that advertisement we are going to get the benefit more than 1 year or less than 1 year? More than 1 year. Do you remember the Denver Mahesh Babu will come and he will spray Denver my scent of success antaadu. Avuna yes or no ma? Yes. In that situation we are remembering that advertisement and we are going to purchase the Denver spray scent. Benefit is there or not there? Yes. More than 1 year will be there, less than 1 year? More than 1 year it will be there. So deferred revenue expenses are normal expenses. Deferred revenue expenses, we are incurring that this kind of expenses for the purpose of sales, not for the purpose of fixed asset. Okay now, even though not for the purpose of fixed asset, we are getting a benefit more than 1 year, less than 1 year? More than 1 year. But normally these 5 are called as what ma? Deferred revenue expenditures only. But in CMA inter, we need to classify these 5 expenditures as revenue expenses. Even though they are deferred revenue expenses, we need to classify it as what ma? Revenue or deferred revenue? Revenue. Okay na. So if you have seen the R&D means what ma? Research and development. Okay na. Research and development cost. This type of cost is also get benefit more than 1 year or less than 1 year? More than 1 year. Okay na. At the time of Corona, okay na, they have invented the Covishield, Covaxin. For the invention, in order to invent the Covishield and Covaxin, what we have needed ma? We need a research and development cost. After incurring the research and development, we have invented one vaccine. For that we are getting a benefit, we are not getting a benefit. We are getting a benefit. The benefit is more than 1 year or less than 1 year? More than 1 year. Normally this research and development cost is for a product, is for a fixed asset. Research and development cost we are incurring for the product, for the fixed asset. For the product, that means this is called as deferred revenue expenditure or normal capital expenditure. Deferred revenue. Even though this is a deferred revenue expenditure, we need to classify it as what ma? Revenue expenses. So remember these type of points they will ask in the question, and in order to get the confused. Okay na. Advertisement expenses is a dash expense. Revenue expenses are deferred revenue expenses. Revenue expenses. Normally that type of expenditure is called as deferred revenue expense. But even though that is a deferred revenue expenditure, as per which standard ma? 26 AS. As per AS 26 intangible assets, this type of expenditure is called as revenue expenses. Next one, what is the meaning of preliminary expenses, sir? Preliminary means before incorporation of company, if there any type of cost is called as a preliminary expense. Before incorporation, after incorporation, amma. What is the meaning of incorporation? Starting. What is the meaning of incorporation? Starting. What is the meaning of employee training expenses? Employee training means what ma? Have you seen your brother and sister? I think so. At the time of many software industries, okay, at the time of getting the job, they will get how much amount ma? 20,000, 30,000, small amounts. Okay na. Why they will give the small amounts? Because at the time of joining into the particular job, directly they can do the work. They cannot do the work. Companies what they will give ma? They will give the training for initial 5 to 6 months. Then after what ma? After completion of training, they will give the more number of salaries. Okay na. But there They have trained the employer, they have not trained the employer. They have trained the employee. For training purpose, after training, we are getting a benefit, we are not getting a benefit. We are getting a benefit. This kind of expenses is also called as deferred revenue expenses. Even though this is a deferred revenue expenses, for our sake, as per 26 AS, what is that kind of expenses, ma? Revenue expenses. Please remember how many points? 5 points. What are the 5 points? Advertisement, research and development, preliminary expenses, pre-operating expenses, and employee training cost. Okay, now finally these 5 expenses are called as revenue or deferred revenue. Revenue. Normally, what is the nature of these 5 expenses? Deferred revenue. Okay, now guys. So now we have discussed all the 3 meanings. What are the 3 meanings? Capital expenditure, revenue expenditure, and deferred revenue expenses. What is the meaning of capital expenditure in one liner? Benefit more than 1 year related to fixed asset. Benefit more than 1 year not related to fixed asset means it is called as deferred revenue expenses. What is the meaning of revenue? Other than capital, other than deferred revenue, it is called as a revenue expense. Normal daily day-to-day expenses is called as revenue expenses. Next, we are going to see what ma accounting treatment for the capital expenditure, revenue expenditure, and deferred revenue expenditure. What is the next concept? Accounting treatment for the capital expenditure, revenue expenditure, and deferred. Okay, now you can say, what is the accounting treatment for the capital expenditure, ma? Capital expenditure means what, ma? Related to asset, related to other than asset, related to asset. That means it should be disclosed under the asset side of balance sheet. Okay, it should be disclosed under the asset side of balance sheet. What is the example? Acquisition of an asset. 40,000 we have incurred. That 40,000 we need to disclose in balance sheet, P&L account, balance sheet. After that, what ma? There are remaining 4 points. What are the remaining 4 points? Next one. Expenditure incurred to bring the asset into the present location and condition. Okay, na? Those expenses we are incurring for already existing asset. Now only we are purchasing. Already existing asset we are going to incur. Okay, at that point of time, what we need to do, ma? Added to the concerned asset which is already disclosed in the balance sheet. Okay, nama already asset ఉంది మనం ఖర్చు పెట్టాం అనుకోండి ఏం చేస్తాం? We are going to add back to that particular asset. Or now only we are purchasing a new asset means we are going to disclose separately. We are going to disclose what ma separately. For example, we are only having what ma camera, laptop, AC, air conditioner we are having. But in the business, now only we are purchasing a new machinery. Another machinery. Okay, we are going to disclose separately, or we are going to add back to the asset AC. Need to disclose it separately. Are you getting the point? Until now, we are having what ma? Camera, laptop, and air conditioner. We are having these 3 assets. We are having. Now we are going to purchase the fans. Okay, we need to disclose separately, or we need to add back to the air conditioner. We need to disclose separately. Already existing asset, we are going to incur any expenses means we need to add back to the existing asset. The case of renovation, extension, already building will be there, building will not be there. Already building will be there. For that building, we are going to what ma? We are going to do the extension. The extension cost we are going to add back to the asset. We need to disclose separately. We need to add back to the asset. The case of renovation also same logic, different logic. Same logic. In the case of expenditure incur, operating increases also. Operating expenditure decreases also. That case also what ma? We need to add back to the asset. Are you getting the point? Either disclose separately or what ma? Add back to the existing asset in the balance sheet. Which side? Asset side. Next one. What is the accounting treatment for the revenue expense? Revenue expenditure means what ma? Day-to-day expenses are what? Day-to-day expenses. It should be recognized in the which side amma? Debit side of either trading or profit and loss account. Next, the important point is deferred revenue expenses. Very, very important. Okay, na sir. Why they are further classified into the deferred revenue means deferred revenue expenses are having the expenditure large amounts. Okay, na, even though they are not related to fixed asset, these kind of expenses will have the large number of amounts, a small number of amounts, large number of amounts. Example, I will take, no problem. If you see this is a P&L account, the P&L account gross profit will be on which side amma? Debit side or credit side? Credit side and debit side. This is a which account? Profit and loss account. And imagine 1 lakh. Imagine how much, amma? 1 lakh. Expenses we are having how much? 10,000. Okay, now incomes we are having 30,000. What is the net profit? 1 lakh 20,000 is called as net profit. Imagine suddenly we are incurring underwriting commission. Underwriting commission, okay, how much amount we have not acquired from the public? 50 lakh. How much amount we have acquired? 50. Okay, how much amount is going to bear the underwriter? 40 lakh. Even though if he is going to bear the 40 lakh, but we need to pay the commission on 1 crore. We need to pay the commission on how much, ma? 1 crore. 1 crore into, if you take the 10% also, how much amount, ma? 1 crore, 10 lakhs. If you write here the 10 lakhs directly, you are getting a loss, sir. You are getting a profit, sir. Get a loss. How much amount of loss, ma? Nearly 8 plus lakhs, 9 plus lakhs. Nearly how much amount of loss we are getting? 9 lakh. 8 lakh 80,000. Huge loss, sir. Small amount of loss, sir. Huge loss. In our business, we are getting only profit of how much? 1 lakh 20. In this situation, you are directly writing 10 lakh in the debit side of P&L account. We are going to get what, ma? Losses. Yes or no, ma? What is this type of expenses? This is also a normal expenses only. But why we are going to categorize it as deferred revenue? For the accounting treatment purpose. For the accounting treatment. Now this 10 lakhs, we are going to divide it into the 5 installments or 4 installments. Our wish. 5 or 4. Think we are imagining that we are going to divide it into 4 installments. 4 means 10 lakhs divided by 4 means how much we will get? 2.5, 2.5, 2.5 and 2.5. What we will do, ma? In the first year we are going to transfer only how much? 2.5 in the P&L account. 2.5 in the P&L account. And remaining how much amount will be there? 7.5. How will get, ma? 2.5 plus 2.5 plus 2.5. What is the total amount now? 7.5. This 7.5 we need to show in. Where we need to show, ma? We need to show in asset side under the head of what, ma? Non-current assets. Under the head of what, ma? Non-current asset. Are you getting the point? Deferred revenue means what, ma? Combination of revenue expenses and combination of capital expenses. Capital expenses means we need to write directly where, ma? Balance sheet. Okay, now revenue means P&L account. But in the deferred revenue expenses, what we are going to do, ma? We are going to do the both type of accounts. Accounting treatment. What, ma? Some amount we are going to record in the P&L account, debit side, and some amount we are going to record in the balance sheet, asset side. To the extent of unamortized portion should be disclosed in the asset side of balance sheet under the head of what, ma? Other non-current assets. Liability enduku vachindi? Already we have paid, prepaid expenses. Already we have paid. We need to paid అయితే ఏంటది outstanding. ఆల్రెడీ ఏం చెప్తున్నా? We have paid అని చెప్తున్నా. ఎంత పే చేసా అని చెప్తున్నా? 10 లక్షలు. మళ్ళీ we need to pay అంటావేంట్రా? Okay, na guys. Instead of writing totally 10 lakhs into the P&L account at a time, what we are doing, ma? We are bifurcating into the 4 installments. If you want, you can take how many installments? 5. No problem. Okay, na. Whatever the amount you have recorded in the P&L account, how much, ma? 2.5. This is called as amortization. This is called as what, ma? Amortization. What is the amount you are recording in the balance sheet of 7.5 lakh? It is called as unamortization. It is called as what, ma? Unamortization. Amortization means amount recorded in the P&L account. Unamortization means amount not recorded in the P&L account, recorded in the balance sheet. Are you getting the point or not till now? Is there any doubts? Next year, what we will do, ma? Again in the next year, already 2.5 lakh transferred to P&L. Okay, leave it. Again in the next year, what we are going to do? This 2.5 lakh we are going to record in the P&L account. And how much amount we are going to disclose in the balance sheet? 5 lakh. And the next year, 2.5 in the P&L account, 2.5 in the balance sheet. And the last year, 2.5 in the P&L account, 0 amount in the balance sheet. Like that we need to do. Are you getting the point? First year, how much amount in the P&L account? 2.5. How much amount in the balance sheet? 7.5. In the next year, second year, P&L account how much? 2.5. And balance sheet is the balance how much? From the 7.5, 2.5 in P&L, 5 in balance sheet. And again, this 5, 2.5 in P&L, 2.5 in balance sheet. Again, this 2.5 will be transferred to P&L account, and then balance sheet is 0. Are you getting the point? Every year we are going to transfer 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, and the balance in the balance sheet will be decreases or increases, will be decreases. The amount you record in the P&L account is called as amortization. The amount you record in the balance sheet is called as unamortization. This is the accounting treatment for the deferred revenue expenditure. Why we are doing like that? Huge amount of expenses, small amount of expenses, huge amount of expenditure. You're going to write the huge amount of expenditure in P&L account. You're going to get a huge losses. Okay, now after disclosing the huge losses in the financial statements, no one, we are not interested to invest in our company. Why ma? Even though this is a actually we have incurred unexpectedly we have incurred the huge amount of expenditure. Okay, now if you show the huge amount of expenditure, we are going to get the huge losses, and no one are interested to invest in your company. For that reason, what we are doing, we are postponing the recognition of expenses into the P&L account. So for that reason, we have divided a further expenses called as what ma? Deferred revenue expenses. It's called as what ma? Deferred revenue expenses. Is there any doubts? Okay, now I will remember the concept. In assets are how many types? 2 types. What are the 2 types? Current assets, non-current assets. In the current assets, we are having 3 categories. We are having how many categories? 3. Liquid assets, non-liquid assets, and third one is called as fictitious asset. I remember the concept. Did you remember that one? Which asset ma? Fixed asset, current asset. You know, fixed asset is classified into how many types? 3 types. First one is called as tangible, intangible, vesting assets. And then current asset is classified into how many types? 3 types. Liquid asset, non-liquid asset, fictitious asset. This fictitious asset only is called as an unamortized portion. Amortized portion, unamortized portion. This is created by the organization. These assets are created by the organization. At that point of time, I have told you that I will discuss in some other point of time what is the meaning of fictitious. What is the meaning of fictitious ma? Anything created by the organization for the purpose of what ma? Not a real asset. Okay na? That one is an asset? No, not a real asset, but it is created by whom? Organization. Because of what ma? Deferred revenue expenses accounting treatment. I think did you get the point of fictitious asset? Is there any doubts? Liquid means what ma? Within 3 months we need to convertible into the cash. Non-liquid means what ma? More than 3 months and within 1 year. Okay na? Tangible means which we can see and touch. Intangible means which we cannot see and touch. Vesting assets means created by the nature. It's called as examples: oil well, coal mines, etc. So I think did you get the point related to capital expenses, revenue expenses, and next one what ma? Deferred revenue expenses. Is there any doubts? Is everything fine or once again I need to repeat? Okay, anyone in the class, can you say the capital expenses definition? We're having how many points? How many points we're having? 5 points. What are the 5 points? Acquisition of an asset, bringing the asset into the current location or condition. Next, existing asset extension or renovation. Next, expenses incurred for decreasing the operating cost. Next, any other expenses related to the fixed asset. This is called as capital expenditure definition. You need to remember, no need to remember. No need to remember. You should understand the concept. Okay, they will give one transaction. We need to identify just what ma, whether that one is a capital expenditure or revenue expenditure. That's all. Okay, na? But you need to write the reason. Reason why it was capital expenses, why it was revenue. At that point of time, this matter is required. Okay, na? So, one trial, one you can write on your own. Are you getting the point? Can I go for receipts? Receipts means what ma? Incomes. Incomes are classified into how many types, sir? Only 2 types. Receipts are classified into how many types, amma? 2 types. First one is called as capital receipt and revenue receipt. What is the meaning of capital receipt, sir? Non-recurring nature. Non-recurring means non-repetitive. Non-recurring means what, ma? Non-repeated. What is the meaning of revenue, sir? Recurring nature. What is the meaning of recurring nature? Repetitive in nature. Okay, now, for example, income na, okay, sale of goods. We are going to do daily or once in a year. Daily we will do the goods, we will sell the goods. So recurring or non-recurring? Recurring. Next means that kind of receipts is called as revenue receipts. Nothing, receipt is nothing but incomes. Receipts are nothing but incomes. How many types of incomes are there? Two types: capital income, revenue income. But we should not call it as capital income and revenue income. We need to call it as capital receipt and revenue receipt. What is the meaning of revenue receipt? Recurring nature. Daily, whatever the amount we are going to record in P&L account credit side, whatever the amount we are going to record in P&L account which side? Credit side is called as revenue receipt. In the P&L account debit side you have recorded means P&L account debit side record cheste ఏమన్నాం revenue expenditure. P&L account credit side record cheste revenue receipt. Okay na? Normal incomes are called as a revenue receipts. Okay na? What is the meaning of capital receipts, sir? Recurring nature or non-recurring nature? Non-recurring nature. For example, loan taken. Recurring or non-recurring? Daily will take the loans or once in a year? Once in a year. This is called sale of asset. Sell the asset. You will receive the amount. We are not going to receive the amount. We are going to receive the amount. But both the transactions are recurring nature or non-recurring nature? Non-recurring nature. This type of transactions are called as capital receipt or revenue receipt? Capital receipt. Generally, capital receipt means liability. Generally, capital receipt means what, ma? Liability or decrease in the value of asset. Liability or decrease in the value of asset. Liability means where we need to disclose in the balance sheet and the P&L account. The balance sheet, which side we need to disclose the capital receipt, liability. Generally, receipt means we can take it as assumption what, my asset. No, here the capital receipt means it is not an asset. It is a liability. Increasing of liability or reducing of asset. Super. Next, revenue receipt means what, ma? Normal incomes is called as a revenue receipt. Revenue expenditure means what? Normal expenses are called as a revenue expenses. What is the capital expenditure, ma? Capital expenditure means asset. Capital expenditure means asset. Revenue expenditure means normal expenses. Capital receipt means liability. Revenue receipt means what, ma? Normal incomes. Normal incomes. Recurring means revenue. Non-recurring means capital. That's all. Are you getting the point? These are the meanings. Now, what is the accounting treatment for the capital receipt? It should be disclosed in the liability side or should be reduced from the asset side of the balance sheet. It should be disclosed under the liability side of balance sheet. That means what is the example? Loan taken or loan repaid? Loan taken. Next one what, ma? Decreasing from concerned asset which is disclosed in the asset side of balance sheet. What is the example here? Sale of asset. Are you getting the point? Next, what is the accounting treatment for the revenue receipt? Revenue receipt, where we need to disclose. It should be recognized in the credit side, either in the trading account or P&L account. So, what is the meaning of capital expenditure, ma? Asset or liability? Asset. Revenue expenditure means normal expenses. Capital expenditure means, capital receipt means liability. Revenue receipt means incomes, normal incomes. Okay, in certain situations, the capital receipt may be changes to revenue receipt or revenue receipt may be changes to capital receipt, depend upon the situation. Normally, building is an asset. Normally, building is an asset. We are doing a real estate business means building is called as revenue. Okay, now purchase of building is an asset. Capital expenditure or revenue expenditure? Capital expenditure. Normally purchase of building is called as what, ma? Capital expenditure. We are doing the real estate business means the same transaction will become a revenue expenditure. Are you getting the point or not? This is only the situation. If you see the next one, the factors that are affecting the classification of capital and revenue nature. First is the nature of business. Purchasing a motor vehicle. Normally purchase of motor vehicle is called as what, ma? Capital expenditure. But the motor vehicle is purchased by a dealer. Dealer means what ma? He will purchase and he will sell the motor vehicles. So resale objective. So for him, it is called as what ma? Revenue expenses. So next one, generally repairs of an asset. Generally bike servicing will be there. If you purchase the bike, they will give you the first service, second service, third service. That service, you will incur certain expenses, but the efficiency will be increases or will not be increased. Will not be increases. Servicing cost is called as a revenue expense. Purchase of motor vehicle is called as capital expenditure. Repairs is called as revenue. But because of some repairs, our efficiency may increase. Okay, now if the efficiency increases means it is called as capital expenditure. If the efficiency not increases means it is called as revenue expense. So repairs, if the efficiency increases means it is called as capital expense. If the efficiency maintenance in a same level, it is called as revenue in nature. Next, recurring and non-recurring. Recurring means revenue, non-recurring means capital. So these are the some of the factors we need to decide. Are you getting the point? Now the total discussion we have completed now. Now we need to discuss the questions. Then only you can understand more effectively. Okay, na? Now we have learned the concept, that's all. You no need to mug up anything. You no need to do. You need to identify whether it is a capital expenditure or revenue expenditure or deferred revenue expenditure, or what we need to do ma, capital receipt or revenue receipt. They may ask you the accounting treatment. You know, capital expenditure means asset should be disclosed in the asset side of balance sheet or add back to the particular asset. Next, revenue expenditure means normal expenses. It should be disclosed in the debit side of either trading account or P&L account. Deferred revenue means what ma? Amortization and amortization. Capital receipt means, first of all, capital receipt means liability. It should be disclosed in the liability side of balance sheet or reducing from the particular asset in the asset side of balance sheet. Next one what ma? Revenue receipt. Revenue receipt means nothing but incomes. It should be disclosed in the credit side of trading or P&L account. Okay, now shall we start the discussion of problems? Okay, see the first one. State whether the following are capital, revenue or deferred revenue expenses. We need to identify which one is a capital, which one is a deferred revenue or revenue. Carrying of 7,500. Carriage of rupees how much amma? 7,500. Spent on a machinery purchase and install. It is called as, by as per which point you are going to call it as capital expenses? First point or second point? Second point. Okay, now expenditure incurred to bring the asset a goodam, to bring the asset into the present location or condition. So carriage of rupees 7,500 paid for the machinery purchased and installed should be treated as what ma? Capital expenditure. Next one. Heavy advertisement cost. Heavy advertisement or small advertisement, any advertisement cost is called as revenue expense, even though it is a deferred revenue expense as per 26 AS para 56. So this is called as revenue expenses. Advertisement expenses for launching a new product, దేనికైనా సరే, for anything, for launching a new product, for sale of asset or any purpose, advertisement expenses is called as the company should be treated as what ma? Revenue expenses as per 26 AS. Intangible assets. Next one. Rupees 200 paid for servicing a company vehicle, including 50 rupees paid for what ma? Changing the oil. Okay na. Both are what ma? Just normal repairs. Okay na. This is performance increase and they have given any performance increases? No. That means what ma? These are normal expenses. So rupees 200 for servicing of oil changes should be treated as revenue expenses. Construction of a basement. Construction of a basement costing how much amma? 1,95,000 for the factory premises. Okay, now we are going to construct a factory premises. For that, the basement we have incurred what ma? 1,95,000. This basement cost is called as capital expenditure. We are getting a benefit more than 1 year, that too related to fixed asset. So construction cost of basement should be treated as what ma? Capital expenses. So these are the small questions they will give. I will show them an examination question also. Okay na? Please wait. Next one. State whether the following are the capital revenue expenses. Paid a bill of rupees how much ma? 10,000 of Mr. Kumar, who was engaged in the erection engineer. Erection means installation. Erection means what ma? We have paid to whom? Mr. Kumar. Who is Mr. Kumar? He is a installation engineer. That means what ma? We are incurring a installation expenses. Okay, now to set a new automatic mission costing how much? 20,000 in the new factory site. So installation expenses, it is nothing but what ma? Expenditure incurred to bring the asset into the present location or condition. So that means this is called as capital expenditure or revenue expenditure. Capital expenditure. Who is Mr. Kumar? Erection engineer. Without him, we cannot install that particular new automatic machine. Are you getting the point? So without installation, we can use or we cannot use. We cannot use. Up to passive use means what ma? Up to put to use. The cost incurred we need to add back to the asset. Okay na? That means what is the total cost of the mission? 30,000 or 20,000? 30,000. Purchase of mission is also called as capital expenses. Installation expenses 10,000 is also called as capital expenses. What is the total expenses? 30,000. Incurring 26,000 expenditure on varied advertisement campaigning under a yearly on a regular basis due to the peak festival season. Okay, now due to the peak festival season, we have given advertisement. Advertisement means what? Revenue or capital? Revenue. Advertisement expense after listening Ramayanam. Advertisement expenses during the peak festival season should be treated as revenue expense. Expenses incurred for the erecting a new mission should be treated as capital expenses. Next one, in accordance with the long-term plan of providing a well-equipped labor welfare center, spent how much? 90,000, being the budget allocation of the year. What they are doing, ma? On long-term plan. What is the long-term plan? To providing a well-equipped welfare service center. What they are thinking, ma? They are thinking to start one service center. For that service center, we require a plan. For that plan, they have paid how much? 90,000. Without the plan, we can do the construction. We cannot do the construction. We cannot do the construction. So that this 90,000 is called as capital expenses. Are you getting the plan? We are planning to start one service center, labor welfare service center. For that, in order to construct the labor welfare service center, we need some plan. Without plan, we can start the construction. We cannot start the construction. We cannot start the construction. For the plan, who will be there? Civil engineer. For the civil engineer, how much amount we have paid? 90,000. This 90,000 is called as capital expenditure or revenue expenditure? Capital. The expenses incurred for labor welfare service center should be treated as capital expenses. Related to fixed asset means capital expenses. Not related to fixed asset means deferred revenue expenses. Are you getting the point? Is there any doubt? Next one. This thing you need to say. An extension of a railway track in a factory area. What is the meaning of this one? In a factory, already we are having a track. Already we are having what more track? For that track, again we are going to extend. Capital expenditure. We need to add back to the particular asset or we need to disclose separately. We need to add back to the particular asset. Wages paid to mission operator. Wages paid for installation of machinery. Wages paid to mission operator. Mission operator means what? Daily labor. Wages. Revenue expenses. Installation cost of a new production mission. Installation is called as capital expenses. Material for extension of a foreman's office in a factory. Okay, now one office we need to extend. For that we have purchased a material, raw material, bricks, sand, etc. This is called as capital expenditure. Rent paid for the factory. Revenue expenses. Normal rent paid for the factory. Payment for computer time to operate a new store control system. Sir, computer time means for the operator, whatever the amount we are paying, that thing we will measure in the computer time. Example, control system means what we need to do, we need to maintain accounts. Otherwise the control will be there or will not be there? Will not be there. We can maintain the accounts in the form of tally or in the form of SAP. the form of expense. There are so many softwares you are having. The software maintenance, okay now we need to pay what ma? We need to pay the salary for the software maintainer. Okay now the salary payment to the software maintainer is called as nothing but computer time. Computer time means what ma? Based on time worked on the computer, we need to pay the salary to the that particular employee. So this is not computer time means please take it as a base for salary. Same like a salary, we are going to give the amount. Are you getting the point? Or otherwise, payment for computer time to operate. Operate means what ma? What they are operating? They are operating a new store control system. There is one control system. For that control system, we need one operator. For that operator, we are paying what ma? Computer time means salary. Computer time means what ma? Salary. Normal salary payment is called as revenue expenses. Wages paid to own employees for building the foreman's office. Normal wages payment to employees for the purpose of production means it is called as revenue expenses. But we are paying wages only, our employees only. But what purpose we are paying the wages? For construction of a foreman's factory. That means what ma? It is a capital expenses or revenue expenses? Capital expenses. Even though they are our employees, even though they are working for us, for what purpose they are working? They are working for the production of a good, for the construction of a building, for the construction of a building. So that this is called as capital expenditure or revenue expenditure. Capital expenditure. So expenses incurred for extension of a railway track is called as capital expenditure. Wages paid for a machine operator is called as what ma? Revenue expenses. Installation cost is called as a capital expenditure. Material for extension of a foreman's factory, it is called as capital expenditure. Rent paid to the factory, it is called as revenue expenses. Next one what ma? Payment to the computer time, it is called as revenue expenditure. Wages paid for the building, foreman's, should be treated as capital expenditure. Is there any doubts? Until now we have completed how many questions? 3 questions. Is there any doubts? Okay na Maniku? What is your name? Is okay na? Next, for each of the cases numbered below, indicate whether the income or expenses is a capital or revenue. What we need to identify? Capital revenue or capital expenses? We need to payment to wages to one own employees for building of a new office extension. It is called as capital. Regular hiring a computer time. Computer time means salary. It is called as revenue expenses. The purchase of a new computer for use in the business, capital expenses. The use of motor vehicle, hired for how many years ma? 5 years. But the payment at every 6 months, it is called as deferred revenue. Normal expenses ma. We are paying what ma? Every 6 months we are paying the rent to the motor vehicle. So normal rent payment to the motor vehicle is called as revenue expenses. Which expenses ma? Revenue. State with reasons whether the following is a capital or revenue expenses. Freight and carriage on a new machine of rupees how much? 150, and erecting charges how much? 50. So total 600. Total 650 is called as capital expenditure or revenue expenditure? Capital expenditure. What we need to do? We need to add back to the particular asset. Fixtures of a book value is how much? First of all, what is the meaning of fixtures? Furniture and fixtures. We can call it as. What is the meaning of fixtures? Bolts, nuts. Furniture means which are movable is called as furniture. This table is called as furniture. Fixtures means fans which are fit. ACs is called as. After completion of class, I am seeing for when the time will be completed. Okay, after that I will talk to you personally. Okay, okay. Fixtures book value is how much? 500. Sold for how much? 1600. So whether we are getting a profit or loss? Loss. This type of loss is called as capital loss. This type of loss is called as what? Capital loss. And a new fixture of the value of 4,000 were acquired and cottage expenses how much? 100. What is this type of expenses? Capital. What is the total capital expenditure? 4,000 plus 100. Only 4,000. 4,000 plus 100. What is the meaning of 2,000 minus 1,600? Capital loss. 2,000 minus 1,600 is called as a capital loss. Okay, now you can understand this one easily. Wait a second. I will change the colors. Up to here is one transaction. Okay, now up to here is what one transaction. From here to here, this is a another transaction. Okay, now up to here we are getting what up to here we are getting a capital loss. Up to here we are getting a capital expenses. Okay, now I am reading an answer. Loss of on sale of fixtures how much? 900 should be treated as capital loss or normal loss amount. The cost of the new furniture and carriage thereon should be treated as what capital expenditure. So because the fixtures will be used for a long period, so the cost of new machinery will be how much? 4,100. Are you getting the point? Is there any doubt? Next one. A sum of rupees how much? 400 was spent for painting the factory. Why? I will use the Asian paints. Nerlotech. Value to the asset. Benefit more than 1 year, less than 1 year. More than 10 years will be there. Sir, even though painting cost will be more number of expenditure, but the benefit will be less than 1 year, or with the help of that painting, they will not provide any efficiency. They will not provide any efficiency. Okay, now have you seen the Desamudru film? Desamudru, okay. In that one dialogue, Hansika will say, what it's all matti, will say. 8,200 spent on repairs before using the second-hand car purchased recently to put it in a usable condition. Now, why? Question only there. Okay, now 8,200 also normal repairs only, but without putting that expenditure, we can use the asset, we cannot use the asset. As use. Say the nature of capital and revenue of the following expenses which were incurred by the Vedanta and Co. during the year ended 30th June 2021. Okay, read on your own and try to think whether it is a capital or revenue, and then we can solve. Completed, Amma? Sir, here first point already we have no. Okay, na? 350 is spent for a repairs of second hand, the repeated once again. Okay, na? Next one. A sum of rupees 30,000 was paid for the compensation to the two employees who were retrenched. What is the meaning of retrenchment? Retirement. Like retirement, this is called as a retrenchment. We need to pay the compensation. Retrenchment means what? Means before completion of work time, we said us to resign. Okay, nama, even though they are having a time to work. Before the age itself, what we are going to give, we are going to give the termination. Okay, na, this is our loss. We need to bear the loss. Sir, nama, for that reason, what we are paying, compensation. Are you getting the point or not? Normally, the age of retirement is 60 years, but the person is having 54 years. What we are saying, imagine these are our relatives, means what we will do. Okay, sir, please take a rest. We will compensate you, because still how many working years are there? 6 years. Even though 6 years are there, what we are going to give salary as a compensation. So this is a normal compensation. This is not any capital expenses or deferred revenue expenses. This is normal salary. Yes or no? Compensation paid to the employees will be disclosed in the P&L account debit side. So this is called as revenue expenses. This is the most important. You may get confused. You can write capital expenditure. It is not a capital expenditure. It is a normal revenue expense. Are you getting the point? Next one. Rupees 150 was paid in connection with the carriage of goods purchased. Sir, here carriage of goods or of asset? Goods. That means it is called as revenue expenses. Direct expenses or indirect expenses? Direct expenses. Purchase of good. Carriage inward or carriage outward? Carriage inward. So it is called as revenue expenses. Rupees 20,000, a custom duty, is paid on import of machinery for modernization of a factory production during the current year of rupees how much? 60. During the current year, and 6,000 is paid on import duty for purchase of raw material. How many transactions are there here? Two types of transactions are there. So up to here is one transaction, and from here onwards, and rupees 6,000 is paid for importation of purchase of raw material. So first transaction, how much amount we have paid? 20,000 is a custom duty. I think, do you know the custom duty? Custom duty means at the time of import or at the time of export, we will pay the duties, custom duties. Okay, na? Here at the time of import, we have paid how much? 20,000. What we are importing? Machinery. So this 20,000 is called as, this 20,000 related to asset or related to good? Related to asset. So that this 20,000 is called as capital expenses. Here also 6,000 we are incurring. Here also we paid what? Import duty for the purpose of purchase of raw material. That means what? Goods. That means what? Goods. This is called as revenue expenses. 20,000 is a capital expenses. 6,000 is a revenue expenses. ఆ సెల్ కనుక ఇంకోసారి నా సౌండ్ వినిపించింది అనుకో, తీసుకొని బయటపడేస్తా. ఇప్పటిదాకా ఆపుకొని రికార్డింగ్ కదా అని చెప్పి ఏమనలా. ఎందుకు అది నీ చేతిలో ఫోను? నాకు కనపడదు అనుకుంటున్నావు ఏంటి? Rupees 18,000 is a interest had accrued during the year on a term loan obtained and utilized for the construction of a factory building and purchased machines. However, the production has not commenced till the last date of accounting year. There is one concept called as, one AS called as AS 16. What is the meaning of AS 16, sir? A borrowing cost. In that borrowing cost, you will get a clear clarity about this. Okay, na? Until then, you may be a little bit confusion. What is in that standard? They will discuss what until the commencement of completion, until the commencement of what construction. If any borrowing cost has incurred, we need to add back to the asset. We need to add back to that particular asset. We are going to add back to the particular asset. It is called as what capital expenditure, revenue expenditure, capital expenditure. You will get a clear clarity on this statement when after completion of what AS16 borrowing cost. Okay, next one. Yeah, this is a final. A simple only, I think so. 50,000 received. How much amount we have received, ma? 50,000 received, they are saying. Received means what, ma? Either capital receipt or revenue receipt. From issue of shares, including how much, ma? 10,000 by way of premium. So what we have received? 50,000 received from issue of shares, including 10,000 what, ma? Premium on issue of shares. Okay, now totally how much amount we have received? 50,000. In that 40,000 is called as what, ma? Received from the issue of shares will be treated as what, ma? Capital receipt, because it is a liability. It is a what, ma? Liability. But the premium amount of 10,000 should be treated as what, ma? Capital profit. Okay, now normally totally we have received how much, ma? 50,000. In this 50,000, 40,000 only the cost. 40,000 only the actual cost we need to collect from the customer. But how much amount we have collected? 50,000. Extra 10,000 we have collected. Totally we have collected the 50,000. What is the cost of that particular product? 40,000. So we are collecting. We are collecting means we need to pay now. We no need to pay now. Share. Share means nothing but capital. We are receiving the capital means we need to pay now. We no need to pay now. We need to pay. So this is a capital receipt. This is called as what, ma? Capital. The total 50,000 we should not call it as a capital receipt. Why, sir? At the time of repayment we can pay only 40,000. Even though we have received 50,000, how much amount we need to repay? Only 40,000. How much amount we need to repay, ma? 40,000. The remaining 10,000 we need to repay na? We no need to repay na? We no need to repay. That means it is called as profit or loss? Profit. Which type of profit? Capital profit. Are you getting the point? So normal గా ఎంత తీసుకుంటే సరిపోద్ది? 40,000 తీసుకుంటే సరిపోద్ది. కానీ మనం ఎంత కలెక్ట్ చేస్తున్నాం? 50,000. బికాస్ ఆఫ్ అవర్ బ్రాండ్ వాల్యూ, అవర్ గుడ్ విల్, వీఆర్ కలెక్టింగ్ ఏ మోర్ అమౌంట్. ఓకేనా? అట్ ద టైమ్ ఆఫ్ రీపేమెంట్ టు ద షేర్ హోల్డర్, హౌ మచ్ అమౌంట్ వీ నీడ్ టు రీపే? 40,000 is sufficient. ఓకేనా? బట్ వీఆర్ కలెక్టింగ్ ఏ 50,000. దట్ మీన్స్ వీఆర్ ఇన్ ఏ గెయిన్ సిచ్యువేషన్, లాస్ సిచ్యువేషన్? గెయిన్. దిస్ టైప్ ఆఫ్ గెయిన్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ as what, ma? Capital profit. Are you understanding the concept? Okay, simple. Next one. Purchase of agriculture land for a mill. For a what, ma? Mill. For rupees how much? 60,000. And 500 is paid for the land revenue for a period after purchase or before purchase? After purchase. First of all, that 60,000 is called as capital expenditure. There is no doubt about it. Why, ma? Because cost of land of 60,000 is treated as capital expenditure, because it for the construction of a mill we have taken that land. That and the land revenue of rupees 500 is to be treated as what, ma? Revenue expenses, because after purchase, at the time of purchase, after purchase, the same type of expenditure of 500 at the time of purchase means it is also called as capital expenditure. Are you getting the point? This 500 we have paid at which point of time, ma? After the period of was paid for the land of revenue for the period after purchase, at the time of purchase. After purchase. Are at the time of purchase means what, ma? At the time of purchase means put to use will be there. So that 500 we are going to add back to the that particular 60,000. 60,500 we can say. But we are incurred after purchase or before purchase? After purchase. So this is called as revenue expenses. Next one. Rupees 5,000 paid as contribution to PWD. PWD means what, ma? Public work development. There will be something fun for improving the roads of sugar producing area. What they are doing, ma? Normal contributions. Normal contribution. After contributing that any fund, they can do anything. They can do anything. Normal contributions is called as revenue expenses. Remember this point also. Normal contribution is called as revenue expense. After contributing that fund, that with the help of that fund we can do anything, but contributing the fund is called as what, ma? Revenue expenses. Next one. Rupees 40,000 paid for excise duty on sugar manufactured. Sugar manufactured means what, ma? Good, etc. Good. It is called as what, ma? Revenue expenses. Okay, na? Next one. Rupees 70,000 spent for constructing a railway siding. Railway siding means what, ma? Tracks. It is called as capital expenditure. Are you getting the point? So is there any doubts up to here? ఏదన్నా డౌట్ ఉంటే అడగండి, చెప్తా. Shall I disclose all the things? To conclude, capital expenditure is a asset. Revenue expenditure is a normal expense. Capital receipt is a liability. Revenue receipt is a income. Are you getting the point? Is there any doubts? So shall I show the examination question? Eating to such. Here they have given one sentence. What ma? Briefly explain expenditure. Briefly explain expenditure means what? Capital expenditure, revenue expenditure. You know, is not a question. See this one. Which attempt? What is the attempt? December 24. They asked the capital and revenue for how many marks? For 7 marks. How many marks, Amma? So first one, expenses incurred in connection with obtaining a license for starting a factory of rupees how much? 10,000. Without license, we can start the factory, or we cannot start the factory. Benefit is more than 1 year, less than 1 year. Related to fixed asset, not related to fixed asset. Related to fixed asset. So that license of rupees how much? 10,000 is called as రామాయణం మొత్తం related to fixed asset రా, capital expenses. rupees 1000 paid for removal of stock at a new site. Okay, now in the new site there is some stock. We are paying for the removal, revenue, expenses. Rings and pistons of an engine were changed at a cost of rupees how much, amma? 5,000 to get full efficiency. With the help of that expenditure, the efficiency is increases or decreases? Increases. So that capital expenses. Rupees 2,000 spent as a lawyer's fee to defend a suit for claiming the Tom's factory site belongs to the plaintiff. Sir, here we are having one farm factory site. Okay, now on that factory site, someone has filed the suit. For that, we have appointed one lawyer. For him, we are going to pay the lawyer fee. Okay, now this is called as capital expenditure related to fixed asset. Normal lawyer fee means legal fee means revenue expense. Here, this is also legal fee, but related to fixed asset. So this is an important point. Okay, now here this is also an important point. License is called as capital expenditure. Normal legal fee means revenue expenditure. Here the legal fee we are incurring for the purpose of Tom's factory. So for the purpose of fixed asset means it is called as capital expenditure. Okay, now next one. Rupees 10,000 was spent for advertisement completed. Advertisement means revenue expenses. A factory shed was constructed at a cost of 1 lakh. A sum of rupees 5,000 had been incurred for the construction of a temporary huts. Okay, now here two types of constructions are happened. One is called as a factory shed. How much amount we have incurred? 1 lakh. And there is another construction. How much amount we have incurred? That construction is called as temporary huts, permanent, temporary. So this 5,000 is called as revenue expenses. This 1 lakh is called as capital expenses. Next, a pair of buffaloes. Here one buffalo is there. A pair of buffaloes of rupees how much? 50,000 was killed by lightning. Lightning means pidugupadi anybody. Okay, na? So how much? 50,000. Okay, we have lost capital loss of rupees how much? 50,000. So this is the total overall information. So we have learned the 1 to 2 points extra. Okay, now license means capital expenses, and then what normal legal charges is called as revenue expenses. Legal charges relating to asset is called as a capital expenses. Is there any doubts up to here? How many marks we are going to get? 7 marks. That to which item they are asked? December or June? December. Now you are going to write on which attempt? If you write the December 2025, definitely revenue expenses will come into the picture. If you write the June means we may get MCQ. That's all. Okay, guys. So until now we have completed what are the topics we have completed. So I have decided not to teach journal and ledger once again. Is it fine? Huh? This is not a foundation. Okay, na guys. So accounting basics completed, double entry system completed, capital and revenue transactions completed. In tomorrow's class, I will discuss the subsidiary books onwards. Journal and ledger, these are foundation topics. Do you know the journal in the modern approach? Already we have discussed from the basics, capital, cash purchases, credit purchase, cash purchase of good, credit purchase of good. You have discussed the debtor account, creditor account. These money accounts, after discussion also you are asking journal ledger means what can I do? So I will discuss the trial balance, no problem. Trial balance I will discuss, but I will not discuss the again what journal and ledger. You are having the questions, you do practice. If you are getting any doubt means I will answer in the class. Are you getting the point? If you are going to do the once again journal ledger means it will take 1 week time. In that 1 week we can complete the subsidiary books, cash book, BRS. The examination, what they will ask? They will ask BRS, they will ask subsidiary books, and they will ask the cash book. They will not ask cash book, but subsidiary books and cash book. Cash book is the base for BRS. Subsidiary book is the base for rectification of errors. Okay, now what is the use for learning the journal ledger? Is there any use? Base you already learned the base for accounts in CMA foundation. You have got 253 marks. In accounts, how many marks you have got? Huh? Yes, 80 marks in CMA foundation, and again you are asking journal ledger. What is the entry for salary? Salary account debited to cash account. The salary account, which side you will record? In the cash account, credit side. What you will record in the cash account? What you record in the salary account? Okay, completed. Journal completed, ledger completed. Cash account, which balance? Cash account. Salary account, which balance? Debit balance will be recorded in the trial balance, which side? Debit side. Credit balance will be recorded on which side? Completed, trial balance. Okay, okay, I will discuss from subsidiary books, ledger and trial balance. Okay, I will not discuss journal, ledger and trial balance. I will discuss what more? Subsidiary books, ledger and trial balance. Subsidiary book is equal to the journal, no problem. Okay, so journal is subdivided into two parts: subsidiary books and journal. Okay, journal proper. You can discuss in tomorrow's class, no problem. Okay, you want, you can discuss in some other time. At last we can discuss what is the journal, ledger, all the things. Okay, okay, tomorrow what is our agenda? Subsidiary books. Okay, please be ready with the subsidiary books. Subsidiary books after cash book, after BRS, and the direct target what rectification of errors. Trial balance is a small concept. You can complete it, no problem. If you complete up to here, you are going to complete up to rectification of errors. 7, you are having a luck means 14 marks. How many marks you will get? 14. Second question will be completed. If you complete up to where rectification of errors. And then after depreciation, including depreciation, I am saying, man. Up to rectification of errors means depreciation is where it is, middle of the topics only. Yeah. Okay. Is there any doubts up to here? Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye bye.